Howdy y'all, welcome back. Today we are back to play Will, A Wonderful World. Last time we were grinding the other endings that we did not get, the non-S ones that we did not get in our first try for the S rank endings. So yeah, we need to go back and get some new endings, non-S endings, in order to unlock some more letters. Because we were stuck. So yeah, I noticed that Alicia's circus freak letter route was grayed out. It was blocked. We can't access it no more. So now we're back on track, which is delightful. I'm so glad because reading that was, goodness gracious, the fact that they did that to her. Goodness gracious. But I'm glad that we were able to get a better story for Alicia right now. Yeah, so that's it. We're gonna do some new letters this time. Let's turn the desktop audio on so y'all can hear. Oh, also let me open up the stream on my phone so I can read the chat while this is in full screen. Okay. Oh. Let me turn the volume down on my headphones. It's a little too loud in my ears. Okay. We will continue not from the audio save data, but we'll continue from this one. Yes. Okay, so did I say we was gonna do new letters, or did I say we was gonna finish off the non-S rank endings? No, I said we'll go back to do those if we get stuck again. I think that's what I said. Okay, so Alicia and the Fury of the Cat. So, one-armed man. I picked up a random bottle from hundreds of bottles of fine wine in the underground wine cellar and put it on a luxurious short table in front of the old man. He nodded with approval and popped the cork. The bright red liquid was poured into an exquisite-looking wine glass. It was swirling and glistening like flowing ruby. Drink it, drink it, drink it. I was standing next to him. Sweat was pouring out of my forehead. As soon as he drank the wine that had just been flavored by me, I would unquestionably become a murderer. I would no longer become a good Catholic. But I had no other choice. I would not let myself be tortured to death in this damn place. I especially would not let myself die without ever seeing Carlos again. He had killed so many innocent people. I had every reason to stand to his final judgment in front of the Heavenly Father. Monish's lips had already touched the glass when the housekeeper knocked on the door and informed him that there was a visitor. I feel like we've done a version of this already. Let me go back. Jack. Pills. Maybe we'll circus freak. Maybe we'll circus freak. That was the other version of the story that we got stuck on. Okay. Because this is familiar. A man with only one arm was sitting on a sofa in the living room. A couple of tall, muscular bodyguards were standing behind him, ready for instructions from their boss. I had never seen Manager act more like a spineless, ass-casting weasel before. He had the most cowardly smile on his face. He seemed determined to lower himself as much as possible in front of the one-armed man. The man yawned and grabbed the bottle of flavored wine on the table. Was he going to drink it? No, he couldn't drink that. I stepped forward. He grabbed the bottle, emptied it with a smile on his face, and forced everything gurgling down. It was already too late. The wine and cider mixture went down his throat and into his stomach. He suddenly stood up, and with his hand grabbing the sofa. He suddenly stood up, with his hand grabbing the sofa. Then he stumbled and fell. His whole body was twitching on the floor. His hand was now grabbing at his own throat. His mouth was wide open, but he couldn't breathe. The rest of the wine spilled out and dropped the bottle, turning the white velvet carpet into a bright red color. The bodyguard were all panicking.
Boss Ray? Boss Ray? Mr. Tough, Boss Ray is... What are you waiting for? Call an ambulance!
No ambulance could be faster than cyanide, though. Almost immediately, the one-armed man died. Monigi had been seated on the sofa, as if he had been paralyzed. He kept staring at the body with an incredulous look on his face. He did not move, nor say a word, until the bodyguards pointed their guns at his head.
It's her! That bitch did it! She poisoned the wine!
They wouldn't let anyone get away at this point. They stuffed Monigi and I into the trunk of a car. A proper greeting would be waiting for us, Alicia.
Oof. Hopefully things will go better this time. Not her end up at a circus. My late daddy used to lecture me, saying that it was dangerous for us to have a predictable daily routine, as the humans might be able to track our activities. Despite that, I developed a habit of visiting the fresh seafood store at the corner of the street every day at noon. Today, as usual, I was tank shopping the tanks in the lobby, pondering the most important question to me. What was for lunch? The fish left in the tank were all too big. The fish in the tank next to my feet looked delicious, but there were only 6 of them left and it would be too obvious if I stole one. I decided that I'll go with the tank on the top right corner. No one would notice if one fish was missing, as there were so many in it. And they had fewer bones, too. Most importantly, they were really fresh. I hunched my back and was about to jump up, when my ears picked up a tiny noise behind me. The owner had just come into the lobby from the back. I quickly hid behind a tank and watched as he opened the roller door, washed the ground in front of the entrance, and sat down and waited for the first order of the day. The owner had blonde hair and blue eyes, which is not common in this city. The other humans called him Alex. I sneaked up to the door and meowed softly, pretending that I just arrived. Following the principle of not trusting humans, I would never intentionally expose my track to humans. Still, sometimes I wondered if I need to be so careful around these humans whose every move was so predictable. Take this guy, for instance. I was sure he would not chase me off. Hey, there you are. Just wait there for a second. A couple of minutes later, he placed the glass in front of me and poured half a glass of milk. Oh, it smelled so good. Milk is truly a cat's best friend. But then I realized, I wouldn't be getting any fish today. I meowed at the owner with my cutest expression. I want a full glass. He scratched his chin, seemed to understand something, and he went to go grab something from a cabinet. He then put a few pieces of dried fish in front of me. Ew! After Daddy had passed away, I spent a whole month eating the dried fish that we had saved together. Ever since then, even the sight of dried fish had been enough to make me sick. He pat me on the head. In the end, as a stray cat, I did not have the luxury to be picky about food. Besides, as long as I got along with this human, I could come back often and steal more fresh fish. So I bent my neck and rubbed my head against his hand, pretending to be a docile little kitty, and had meowed happily at him. For the record, I was not actually happy. I was licking the milk with my head down when a strong smell of alcohol almost choked me. Someone spat his phlegm into the nearest fish tank. Ugh, that's disgusting. Ew. Here comes trouble. A man with black hair stood in front of the shop. A half-empty beer bottle was dangling from his hand, making a splashing sound. His eyes were wandering and unfocused. I recognized him. He lived in a small house that was the highest one in the community in the hills. Both his wife and his son had blonde hair and blue eyes. They were much better looking than him. Oh, is this, I can't remember his name right now, but that little boy who's been abused, is that his father? Although I had not seen them for a while, I heard that the wife had committed suicide. The owner's eyes stayed fixated on his newspaper, but his hands were trembling. Well, as far as I knew, the relationship between the owner and that other guy's family had been complicated, to say the least. The black-haired man's blonde wife had often been seen hanging out with the owner in a very intimate way. Whenever the neighbors nearby saw them together, they would gossip about it. The owner was very concerned, but the woman didn't seem to care at all. Once I heard that some humans were chatting that the blonde woman had some kind of illness. What kind of illness would make people behave like that? I couldn't understand. The man had always been very nice to his wife. Well, I wouldn't say that. Hold on, y'all. Okay, I'm back. But the wife was a dragon lady. Not only did she have an affair, she would even beat up her husband and her son. Once I even heard her calling her own son a bastard. Is this the same? This might not be the same people. Like this don't sound like the same people. I might be thinking about they might be talking about someone different than what I'm thinking about. He looks so much like her. How could he not be her own son? Well, it was terrible. As the days went by, the man began to lose his spirit too, and he wouldn't go anywhere without alcohol. But the one who had suffered the most must be the little boy. He was so pretty and looked nothing like the other kids, so no other children would play with him. Sometimes I would run into the boy and if I had nothing else to do, I would play with him for a little while. If he had happened to have some change on him, he would even buy me some milk. Compared to his parents, the kid was almost like an angel with catnip. Anyway, it was not a normal family. The kid stared at the owner for a while, his mouth squeezed a psst. Then his eyes turned to me. He crouched down and knocked over the glass. All of the milk spilled out. Some even got on my paws. This wasn't the first time this had happened, but the owner still didn't move at all, as if it had nothing to do with him. Damn you, you stupid human! How dare you interrupt my meal! You wait there! I stared at the stone-faced man waving my fist. I swear I'm gonna stuff dead rats into your bed tonight. Spotty. Oh my gosh, Spotty. Spotty's so cute. Okay. I think it's supposed to be like this. Right? Knock over the glass and have everything spill out. Perfect. The yellow beer and the white milk mixed together and turned into a disgusting color. How dare you, you lousy loser! That was my lunch! I stared at the stone-faced man waving my fist. You just wait! I swear I'm gonna stuff dead rats into your bed tonight. Well, that didn't fix his problem. I need to fix this problem too, not just hers. The stone-faced man, however, seemed to have ignored all my threats. He stood back up happily, turned away, and walked into a nearby lottery place. Wait! Oh, he likes it. Never mind. Never mind, he liked it. This new milk cocktail seemed to have an extraordinary scent. I, being the bravest soul in the whole universe, drank the milk that looked like it was going to give me diarrhea. As a result, I did get diarrhea in the evening. What was worse, it smelled absolutely horrible. Damn you, human! Okay, no, he don't like it. Oh, I said knock over. I I made you knock over the glass. Goodness gracious, I didn't mean you drank it. Okay, I have to fix that. I have to fix this.
I kept swallowing the flavored wine down my throat. I would rather drink this poisonous wine myself than having some innocent bystander die because of me. The bottle smashed to pieces on the floor as a strange sensation took over my body. I could not breathe. My mouth was wide open. I grabbed my throat with both of my hands and fell to the floor. My whole body was twitching. As I gradually lost consciousness, I heard a couple of gunshots. The old man fell in front of my face. His eyes were wide open and full of shock. Blood was oozing out of his forehead, turning the white velvet carpet into a bright red color. Even though things had not gone as planned, I could die without regrets now. You dirty old monster. I will haunt you on your way to hell.
Yeah, okay. Girl, I didn't mean for you to drink it. I meant for you to just have everything fall out the glass. Come on now. That's not what I meant. He put down the bottle, and then he spoke to me in his drunken voice. I have won the lottery. He took another chug of beer. I have won 1,000,001. Blech. I am gonna get my son back. Sure, you won 1,000,001. What the cat hell did it have anything to do with me? I lowered my head and continued with my milk, ignoring the boring human. Okay.
The exquisite looking glass smashed into pieces near my feet. The bodyguards of the one-armed man immediately raised their guns in case I tried to do something to their boss. The one-armed man himself was calmly sitting down on the sofa, as if he was just waiting for a show. The old man looked at the one-armed man nervously and looked back at me. He was still confused. Even though it hadn't gone as planned, I couldn't give up now. Go to hell, you dirty old monster! I bent down and picked the largest piece of glass, but my right hand was somehow blown into pieces right before my very eyes, and then I felt more bullets hitting me in the chest.
This is bad! How do I fix this? None of these options are good.
Shoulders, stomach, legs. I could feel the white velvet carpet touching my face. It felt so soft. Slowly, it had turned to a bright red.
Oh my gosh, this is terrible. How do I fix this? Oh my gosh. How do I fix it? Okay. Let's see. Okay, this is still bad. She's still drinking it. Ugh. How do I fix it?
The flavor of the wine kept being forced down my throat. As soon as the one-armed man let go of my neck, a strange sensation took over my body. I could not breathe. My mouth was wide open. I grabbed at my throat with both my hands and fell to the floor. My whole body was twitching. As I gradually lost consciousness, I heard a couple of gunshots. The old man fell in front of my face. His eyes were wide open and full of shock. Blood was oozing out of his forehead, turning the white velvet carpet into a bright red color. Even though things had not gone as planned, I could die without regrets now. You dirty old monster. I would haunt you on the way to hell.
He looked at me. I looked right back at him. We stared at each other with our different sized eyes. Of course, I had the bigger eyes. I had the bigger eyes. At a moment like this, I had to overpower him with my fearlessness. However, I quietly moved the milk glass behind me a little. After the standoff had lasted After the standoff had lasted for a while, he stood back up defeated. He turned away and walked into a nearby lottery place. Look! I won! Stupid human. Wow, that was S? Okay. Ooh, no. Let's see this. Okay, this is good. I think this is good.
The exquisite looking glass was smashed into pieces near my feet. The one-armed man stared at me with a smile and emptied everything into the bottle on the floor. The wine was turning the white velvet carpet to a bright red color. The red kept spreading, almost touching my feet. I wanted to step back, but I was paralyzed by the stare. I couldn't move my body even 1 inch. The one man came around after a while.
You. Did you poison the wine? You dirty bitch!
To prove his innocence in front of the one-armed man, he grabbed the fork from the dessert tray and charged towards me in a rage. No, no. You're the one that should be dead, not me, not now. I picked a large piece of glass from the floor and stabbed at the scumbag. He stabbed the fork into my shoulder, but I pushed the glass into his heart. The old man made a stifled sound, and he stared at me with death in his eyes. He probably had never imagined that one day he would die at the hands of one of his lab rats. I realized that nothing mattered now. I knew I would not be able to survive today. Heavenly Father, forgive me. I pulled the fork out of my shoulder and stabbed it towards my own neck. I felt it touching the skin and flesh on my neck. I need to push it a little harder to pierce my skin and force into my artery. My right hand was trembling. My eyes were watering up. I had to use my left hand to support the other one.
You must be alive to enjoy life. There's no need to die in a hurry.
The fork was gone from my hand. The one-armed man flung his coat over my shoulders, still smiling. Then he had my freezing, trembling hands in his one big palm. I could not remember the last time I felt such warmth. I broke down sobbing uncontrollably.
How come he's so nice now? Why is he so nice? Why is he so nice now? I'm so confused. He was so mean beforehand. A woman with fiery hair. Oh. Oh. Okay, is she a soldier now? Oh my gosh, wait, that outfit girl. She's so pretty, oh my gosh. Hold on, sorry y'all, I need a moment. Oh my gosh, she's so pretty.
Thursday, on the side of the bush-covered hill, 2 kilometers away from Tayo Red.
Like, red is my favorite color, and black and red together are such a wonderful combination. It looks so good on her, especially with her tan skin. It looks so good. She looks so good.
Through the scope of my M110, I was staring at the factory 1 kilometer away. There was no other vantage point around the factory. This was the closest FFP available.
Final firing position refers to a chosen position by a sniper or a team in a position. A spot could be considered a potential FFP if it satisfies the following conditions. 1. The target's location must be widely visible from the spot. 2. There are covert pathways available in and out of the area. 3. Avoid places that are adjacent to artificial structures and roads, as well as inner sites that might attract the target's attention. 4. Ideally, it should be in the downwind direction and, if possible, be close to water.
The wind speed was 4.3 ms, and there were no signs of that changing. Mildot, 4 -2. I laid out the bullets in front of me in a straight line, warming them up in the sun. 2:10 p.m. A small yellow sedan drove into the factory entrance. Loading. The door opened, and a woman with a full head of fiery red hair got out of the car. Her name was Li Hua. She was the head of the firearms smuggling team in the blood gang. Aiming. I pulled the...
Oh gosh! Ma'am! Ma'am! This new sprite that you got, ma'am. Wow. Look at that hair floating in the wind.
I pulled the trigger. The target was down. I saw a flash from the window on the second floor of the factory. There was another sniper aiming at me. A bullet pierced and shattered the scope. I jerked myself to the side. The bullet didn't go through my eye as the opponent had hoped, but it did give me a severe injury. The right side of my face was burning. It was like it was on fire. I lowered my body and slid down the other side of the slope. I got into the fire cycle that I had prepared in advance. However, on the way back my consciousness began drifting away. I lost control of the vehicle. The bike stumbled, head first into a ditch. Blood was mixing with the muddy water of the ditch. It was black and red everywhere. While Liwa had been killed, complete a mission like this was rather embarrassing. Perhaps this wasn't the right job for me after all, Alicia.
Yeah, I'm like, girl, I don't want you to be a soldier, girl. I want you to be reunited with your brother back in Mexico. I think this is right.
My bullet pierced and shattered my opponent's scope and skull. Meanwhile, while I was distracted, the red-haired woman had disappeared from my sight. I lowered my body and slid down the other side of the slope. I got onto the motorcycle that I had prepared in advance. There were no doubt to be enhancing their security after this. I failed my first mission. I did not know how to report back to Ray. The noise from the engine echoed in the valley, and it sounded like a growl from the upset monster that no one could see, making me feel even more unsettled.
Okay, that was A. Okay, that was pretty good. I don't think this is right, but let's just see. Yeah.
I could see in the scope that my opponent had dodged my killing shot. Nevertheless, I had earned enough time to disengage. Meanwhile, while I was distracted, the red-haired woman had disappeared from my sight. I lowered my body and slid down to the other side of the slope. I got onto the motorcycle I had prepared in advance. There would no doubt be enhancing the security after this. I had failed my first mission. I don't know how to report back to Ray. The noise from the engine echoed through the valley, and it sounded like a growl from an upset monster that no one could see, making me feel even more unsettled.
Hold on. Okay, so I still have an S rank that I still didn't get. That was a B. Hold on. try this.
The bullet was right in front of my eye. I had only one thought in my mind as it was just about to pierce my skull. I'm sorry, Ray.
Okay, that was terrible. That was terrible. Oh my gosh. Um. Okay, this was good. I don't know why this was necessarily the best option, but okay.
I could see in the scope that my opponent had dodged my killing shot. Nevertheless, I had enough time to disengage. Mission accomplished. I lowered my body and slid down the other side of the slope. I got onto the motorcycle that had been prepared in advance. I rode away faster than a breeze. I reported the news to Ray in a luxury suite on top of the floor at Merrily Hall. He was very happy.
So I guess Ray is the one-odd man, I think. I have something for you.
He picked up his coat from the floor and pulled a small box from his pocket. He then handed it to me with his left hand.
It's a shame that I can't help you put it on.
Later, I put a glamorous jewel necklace into my special treasure box collection. Then, I took out a necklace with a cross on it out of the box. It was a necklace I had worn ever since I was a kid. I put it into an envelope. I wanted to mail it to my brother. Over the last 4 years, I've been regularly sending money to the orphanage back home. Aunt Benita also written back to me a couple of times. She told me that Carlos had been doing well, and they had worked very hard in school. Carlos must be all grown up now. He must become a fine young man.
Okay, so so I noticed that. I remember them talking about that. These letters might be coming around, like the time that different letters come, they might not be coming at the same time. I'm not explaining that correctly. These letters might not be all coming at the same point in the timeline. So right now, well, when she was lost, Carlos was very young, but when Carlos's story, he's older now, like he's a full-grown man. So Carlos was even around to look for her while she was in Hong Kong being trafficked at that moment. I see.
He must become a fine young man. I really wish that one day I could get a letter written by him.
Well, that was S rank. This is like a side branch. So it's like, is another branch that could go this way or that way or something like that? Let's see. Wow, Alicia. Oh, hold on. Oops. She was so cute. She was so pretty even now. Like, she's so beautiful. But her now, she's very fierce. Okay, let's look down. At 19, murdered Money Ja and was rescued by the Black Dragon Gang. Soon began assassin training and became exclusive assassin for Ray Lin. At 23, completed her first assassin mission.
Dios, ¿qué hice mal? Dios, ¿qué hice mal?
Let's see. How old is he right now? Doesn't say his age right now. Oh, he's 18. Oh, wait a second. He's in the Black Dragon Gang right now. I didn't even realize. They're in the same gang right now. Oh, wow. He could find his sister. Oh, that might be a timeline where they find each other like that. I see.
Lo siento.
만약 돌아갈 수만 있다면.
Okay. Look to find more information on his father. Okay. The dancer.
At the southeast corner of Hong Kong Island sat the largest and most secure prison in the city. Hong Kong Central Prison. I gave the guards at the entrance the name Warden Chris. They glanced at my stripper outfit, casually flipped through the stuff in my tiny handbag and let me through. No one else was in the warden's office except Chris. There was a radio placed next to the sofa. It was playing some unknown Latin music. Warden Chris's special hobby was likely the only weakness in this concrete fortress. He liked Latin music. Moreover, on the last day of every month, he would invite a young female dancer into his office. None of the girls have ever been seen again. Some of the people had also suggested that they had to go to new identities to start new lives somewhere else. Others insisted that they were dead. In any case, that was the only information I had managed to gather. The uncertainty made the mission tonight a little risky. Nevertheless, it was the only way for me to approach him. I ignored the warden's leering looks and started dancing to the music. I didn't know the song, but the familiar melody still made me feel nostalgic. Yeah, I think so. Oh, I wish you could go back to Mexico soon, girl. Please. For a brief while, I felt like I was back in Mexico. In Mexico. I could imagine myself strolling down the street of the lovely Coatepeque, bathing in the warm sunshine, waving hello to everyone, saying "Buenos dias." I extended my hand towards the warden, and he showed him a passionate and inviting look. He grabbed my hand. I suddenly felt a sharp pain in my stomach. I had to run to the bathroom. For some reason, my stomach suddenly started hurting. It gave me a bad feeling about the night. If I proceeded with this mission, it was probably not going to go smoothly. My instincts had never been wrong before. A few minutes later, I escaped to the bathroom window. Never force yourself when you're feeling uncertain. Ray taught me that. However, Warden Chris had already seen my face, which meant I couldn't attempt the mission anymore. But even if we sent someone else, it would be much riskier to follow the same strategy. I screwed up, Ray. Alicia. I screwed up, Ray. Alicia.
Okay. Officer Ji Young was still in the hospital. Meanwhile, Officer Ji Min Jun had not shown up for work for a few days either. Lieutenant Kang had mentioned that he had been absent for health reasons. So he and I were the only active members of Unit 4 at the moment. We were in room 403 of the Sunshine apartments, but there was no sunshine at all. The room had no furniture except a fridge, a microwave, a simple gas stove, and some bowls and dishes that had not been used in a long time. Thick window shades had blocked most of the light for months too. The whole room smelled like mold. However, it was a perfect location for surveillance. We quickly set up a telescope and pointed out the window in the room at the third floor, the floor of the opposite building. I could see through the telescope that a four-figured woman was having breakfast. Her lover was a drug dealer in the Yu Sung team of the Muslim gang who oversaw the transportation of all their goods. He was also an important suspect in a murder case He was also an important suspect in a murder case from a few days ago, and he hadn't been seen in the past few days. This was my first time partnering with Lieutenant Kang. I had not been in Unit 4 for long, but I'd come to learn that it was nothing like the rumors I had heard. Unit 4 didn't have a lot of people, but had abundant talent. An amazing marksman, a master of transfiguration, not to mention that lieutenant himself, who was a hidden beast. Lieutenant Kang had told me the truth about what happened to him during the fight after Officer Ji Young was stabilized. He told me he had his other personality, named Yong Gung. He was a different person altogether. Yong Gung was very violent, and he didn't have access to Lieutenant Kang's memories. Therefore, for the safety of colleagues, he would usually only go on solo missions. I couldn't believe it at first. I had suspected that Lieutenant Kang was just yanking my chain because he didn't trust me yet. And he didn't want me to know the true source of his strength. However, when I later went to visit Officer Ji Young, she had told me about her own experience when she first joined the unit, including the same story about the lieutenant. That was when I finally realized it was all true. Multiple personalities were not common, so Lieutenant Kang had always kept it to himself. especially about where it came from. In any case, this small quirk did not stop me from feeling closer to him. Although he was a weird person with even stranger temper, he cared about us deeply. Just the other day, he had gone screaming at Unit 3 because their men wouldn't shut the bathroom door properly and was making my seat smell. Ew. It was making my seat smelly. It was so awesome. He likes him now. At first he did not like him, but now he really likes him now. As for the rumor about how no one wanted to join Unit 4, that was a total lie. They must have all just been sent away by the lieutenant because they're too weak. Yes, that must be the case. Oh my gosh, he is totally sipping for Lieutenant Kang now. He is such a fanboy. He is such a fanboy now. Oh my gosh. This is my first surveillance mission since joining the force. The more I thought about getting to be with the lieutenant alone for the next few days, the more excited I felt. I wondered if he'd be willing to spar with me. Actually, how about now? He's so excited. Lieutenant Kang, would you like to exercise a little? The doorbell buzzed with a terrible timing. I opened the door and a young woman was standing outside. She said she was a freelance writer who lived next door. She saw that there was a new neighbor, so she wanted to come by and say hello. The writer then asked me what we did. She kept asking me for a lot of other random questions. There were so many that I became completely lost. I like beautiful women, but I couldn't handle them. Just as I was stuttering hopelessly, Lieutenant Kang came to the rescue. He explained to her that we were brothers and we had just moved into the city. He was a journalist and I was his little brother, who was a chef. I couldn't help but give him a look when I heard the last bit. After spending some more time with him, I learned that Lieutenant Kang, while extremely strict most of the time, also had a lot of tricks up his sleeves. The writer had not stopped ogling? Is it? I think it's ogle, right? The writer had not stopped ogling the lieutenant ever since she had first laid eyes on him. See, that was our lieutenant, attractive in every possible aspect. He quickly got rid of her and told me to keep a close eye on the room that we were watching before he left. He must have gone grocery shopping in preparation for the next few days. I used to hear Officer Min Jun tell stories about how they always had nothing but kimchi flavored ramen. It wasn't particularly healthy, but as a part of their mission, it was perfectly fine. I was perfectly fine with ramen. How are you today, Okapi Flower? I'm doing well. Thank you for asking. And yes, I do know what a lamb is. A lamb is a baby sheep. Besides, I love kimchi. However, 20 minutes later, all I could see in front of my eyes was an entire grocery bag of ice cream. My heart was bleeding. How did I forget that the lieutenant ate nothing but high-calorie junk food? Officer Min Jun must have bought that ramen himself. Aww. Look at them. So nice. I sat next to Lieutenant and resigned myself to fate. I kept an eye on the mistress while munching on ice cream. I ate the ice cream cone while he was watching TV. He looks so cute. He looks so cute. Oh my gosh. I ate an ice cream cone while she was watering the flowers. I ate an ice cream cone while he was making lunch. I ate an ice cream cone while he was taking a nap. I ate an ice cream cone while she was ice creaming. What does that mean? While she was ice creaming? What does that mean? When it was almost sunset, the ice cream was starting to make the ice cream was starting to make the ice cream for the night, and my ice cream began to like, wait, this don't make no sense. Okay, I think he's just going mad eating ice cream all day. I think this is supposed to be nonsensical. Hold on, let me get my fan because it's hot in this room. It is way too hot. Hold on. Goodness gracious. Hold on, I just need to fan myself right quick. It's too hot. that's enough for now. When it was almost sunset, the ice cream was starting to make the ice cream for the night, and my ice cream began to rumble. Ah, ice cream, 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 ice cream. Oh my gosh. The doorbell buzzed at an inopportune time once again. I opened the door. It was the writer again. She was carrying a bag of groceries. You guys haven't eaten dinner, have you? Shall we eat together? I have some extra food. Besides, I really love to witness the chef's skills. Uh-oh, he can't cook, I don't think. She walked past me and went straight into the house. She changed into a pair of slippers while standing in the doorway and kept peeking around the room. Yeah, like, girl, excuse me? You can't just... You make yourself mighty comfortable, ma'am. You making yourself mighty comfortable. I could tell that dinner was not her real purpose. However, my stomach full of ice cream had me on edge of a meltdown. Looking at the bag of fresh vegetables and meats, I couldn't help but salivate over it. Wait a second, the chef? Was she referring to me? Well, Lieutenant, shouldn't you be responsible for your lies? Just as I was thinking about him, Lieutenant Kane came to the doorway too. He slammed one hand on the wall with a bang. At the doorway, Lieutenant Kang stared at the writer with a lustful look. Oh. What a shame. We've just eaten. Sure, ice cream. Although, I usually go to bed later than my brother here. Wait, what? Who between us always starts staying up his bed before 7 p.m? Can I come over later? I know to get back cook myself. Who can cook a milkshake? Well, you could just take the stuff out the fridge and set them aside for half an hour. To my surprise, the writer seemed to be really into the idea. In that case, I won't bother you now then. Well, goodbye, but leave the food. As for tonight, I don't sleep until late either. You're welcome to join me for a late night snack. You look so excited I think you can go in for days without sleeping at all. At last, the writer finally left. I allowed a sigh of relief and went back to the window. Oh crap! The person at the bottom of the building was the drug dealer we've been waiting for. He was about to take off. We rushed downstairs, but there was no sign of him anymore. For the next few days, we never saw him show up at his mistress's place. Considering that he left in such a hurry, he probably will not be coming back anytime soon. Mission failed. Chang Yeon-min. Well, that was a long, entertaining letter. I don't know if this is good to put over here. Maybe this is good so he can get close to her. It must be the ice cream. I sounded. Ew! No, not them actually giving sound effects. Ew. I sat on the toilet and let everything run its course. When I finally got out the bathroom, both the rider and Lieutenant Kang were already gone. Not until later did I learn while I was in the bathroom that Lieutenant had seen the drug dealer show up at the home of our surveillance target. He didn't want to interrupt me, so he had gone after the guy alone. In the end, the drug dealer eventually outran him after more than a few dozen blocks. If I had gone with him, we would have been able to catch the guy for sure. Damn it! It was all the ice cream's fault.
Perhaps my mission had infected the warden too. He was beginning to get a different look in his eyes. There was something twisted and dangerous about that look. Feeling a little uneasy, I decided to make my move immediately so I could complete the mission and protect myself before being exposed. But he grabbed my left hand so tightly that I couldn't get out of his grasp. Should I forcefully pull my hand out and risk being exposed? Or should I wait patiently for the next opportunity? And then he kissed me. It was already too late that I noticed a strange taste in my mouth. The first thing I saw when I opened my eyes was the sky, and then the ocean, and then the beach. I was lying on an empty beach, naked, with bruises all over my body. If I were a regular girl who had not been through 40 years of assassin training, I would have died by now. So that was where the other girls had gone. They'd been abused and dumped in the ocean. However, Warden Chris had already seen my face, which meant I couldn't attempt the mission anymore. But even if I sent someone else, it would be much riskier to follow the same strategy. I screwed up, Ray.
Okay, well, that was pretty bad. How about this? How about Lieutenant Kang grabs his hand before he goes to the bathroom? Okay, this seems like a good choice.
Perhaps my passion had infected the warden too. He was beginning to get a different look in his eyes. There was something twisted and dangerous about that look. Feeling a little uneasy, I decided to make my move immediately so I could complete my mission and protect myself before being exposed. Warden Chris suddenly began struggling to breathe. He fell to the ground while grabbing his own neck with his hand. His face turned to a dangerous purple color. He would never see the little tiny scratch on the back of his neck that was killing him. I calmed myself, took the poisonous fake fingernails and excessive dress, and jumped out the bathroom window.
Go! Oh, okay, so he grabbed him before he was in the bathroom. Okay. Go! I had barely pulled up my pants when Lieutenant Kang grabbed my arm and led me out from the bathroom and kept running outside. We ran into the drug dealer who was just leaving from the building on the opposite side of the street. He took a glance at Lieutenant Kang and immediately started running as soon as he recognized him. He was pretty fast. We ran after him for a few blocks before we finally trapped him in a small alley for both ends. The next day, in the interrogation room, he was very tight-lipped, refusing to answer any of our questions. After half an hour without any progress, Lieutenant Kang stood up and turned off the video camera. He went back to his seat and leaned closer to the table. He whispered to the guy, "How about we make a deal?" A deal? What kind of trick was Lieutenant Kang trying to play now? The guy was apparently as curious as me. He leaned forward, waiting to hear what the lieutenant had to say. Lieutenant Kang pulled out a switchblade. He flicked it open and stabbed into the back of the guy's left hand in one clean move. The guy screamed out loud, but he didn't move, worried about hurting his hand even more. I suppose he was even willing to he was unwilling to risk his own life. Is that legal? Are police officers allowed to interrogate their suspects by violence? Is that legal? Like, I know they do it. It happens all the time, but is that legal? He finally started talking while he shook in pain. If I answer your questions, are you gonna recommend a lighter sentence? Lieutenant Kang smiled and pulled the knife out. He pulled it away without even wiping the blood off. After he gave his statement, the dealer took his jacket off and threw it aside while cursing non-stop. That was when I saw a giant green python tattoo on his left arm. The lieutenant suddenly went quiet. I called his name more than a few times before he finally came back to himself. He stood up, patted me on the shoulder, and before he left the room said to me, "He's yours now. Make him pay." Well, we did it, y'all.
No puedo regresar.
만약 돌아갈 수만 있다면.
Okay, 2 more letters from them again.
2 p.m. The 32nd floor of the Shanglongkor building. The women's restroom. I pressed the button on my phone, timed to the movement of my hands on my time the movement of my hands on my watch. Almost immediately I heard a muffled boom from the bottom of the building. The entire building shook slightly for a few seconds and made a subtle grinding sound. I heard the latest instructions coming from the building's security team leader on the radio, broadcast through their dedicated security channel. He wanted 2 guards on the top floor and the rest on the ground floor. I turned off the radio and walked to the bathroom in the janitor's uniform. I blended into a crowd of panicking and confused salarymen. Then I ducked into the security stairwell and went up to the 33rd floor, the highest floor of the building, which was reserved exclusively for the chief executives of the corporation. I reached for the knife hidden in my waist. I planned to ambush the 2 guards before they noticed me. However, there was no one in the hallway. I opened the door of the president's office. There was no one there either. I began to scour through the office. When I opened the closet, a body rolled out from the outside. When I opened the closet, a body rolled out from the inside. The door was kicked open. I took 2 steps back and sprinted forward and burst through the window. I held onto the rope with my right hand and descended all the way to the ground from the outside of the building. A couple of people had seen me while I was dropping down and let out some admired and terrified gasps, but their attention was soon pulled away from the explosion on the top floor. The body in the closet had been my target tonight. The president of Shanglong Court, Liang Zhilong. Someone had gotten to him before I could. What I couldn't quite understand, though, was why a bomb was tied to his body. It was the kind of bomb that would detonate upon disturbance, or when the timer ran out. It was much more powerful than the one I had made. I could only think of one reason. The other assassin had known that someone else was after the same target, so it had been a prank. In fact, my mission tonight was more than just killing Liang. There was something else. I was supposed to retrieve a black metal box that he had. I had no idea what was hidden inside the box, but it must be something incredibly important. However, I was afraid that the box had fallen into the hands of the other assassin too. Who could this person be? How had he known that Ray had also been looking for the same box? Was this prank specifically designed for me? Pain from the left arm interrupted my thought. Only then that I realized that my left arm had been blown to pieces. My left palm had completely disappeared. Alicia.
Girl, a lot has happened to you, man. I feel like that was like the second time that didn't happen. Lieutenant Kang was not here, and neither was Officer Min Jun nor Officer Ji Yun. I was alone in the office, working on the suspect's statements and feeling a little lonely. The lieutenant had told me to make him pay. Officer Ji Yun had said to me that Lieutenant Kang had used to tamper with the amount of goods and money when dealing with smuggling cases so that the criminals would get a heavier sentence. Oh wow, that's crazy. That's terrible though. That's terrible. Not of obstructing justice, come on. But this guy was already an accomplice to a murder. How could I make this case worse? I didn't know what to do. I was scratching my head when the phone on the lieutenant's desk rang. It was an anonymous tip to a murder. However, Unit 4 usually handle cases related to gun violence or drugs. Why would we get a tip about a murder? I wasn't sure how to deal with the situation, although I didn't have much at hand when trying to deal with it right now anyway. My heart adjusted was beating with excitement. I grabbed my gun and walked out. I was about to take the stairs when I heard someone yelling loudly behind me. I turned around. It was Lieutenant Kim Jun-ho of Unit 3. Lieutenant Kim asked if I was heading to the murder scene reported by an anonymous tip earlier. He said I should not go out alone and that he was coming along with me so we could look after each other. It seemed like a good idea. We got into his patrol car and started the siren. 20 minutes later, we arrived at an apartment building of the scene. It was a 2-floor rental building. We could vaguely see fire through the windows of the one apartment. in the middle of the second floor. Something wasn't right. Anybody home? I knocked on the door. There was no response. I knocked even harder and yelled even more, but there was nothing. Lieutenant Kim stopped me and said that we should just wait for the apartment manager to open the door for us. The whole apartment had been engulfed in fire. When the manager turned the key and touched the doorknob, he suddenly jumped back like he had been shocked. I stepped ahead and grabbed the knob. It felt like soldering iron burning my palm. I bit my own lips to stop myself from screaming. As soon as I forced the door open, flames leapt out of the apartment along with a wave of heat. I could almost smell my hair getting burnt. Lieutenant Kang and I had to take a few steps back. If the tips had been true, there might still be people inside. I took a step towards the door, but Lieutenant Kang grabbed me. Are you crazy? Look at the fire! You'll be burnt to ashes! We've been here for over 20 minutes! Whoever still might be in there is already dead! He had a good point. We waited until the firefighters had put out the fire before we finally went into the apartment. Everything inside had been scorched. All the furniture had been incinerated. We found 2 bodies that had been completely unrecognizable due to the fire. One in the bathroom and the other in the living room. We had to send them back for autopsies. We didn't learn the identity of the bodies until the next day. I could not have imagined that they were... Wow! Officer Min Jun and Lieutenant Kang. I should have charged inside! I could have saved them! Chung Gyun Min. Wow. That's crazy. That is crazy. Hold on, let me reset this. Let's see how this goes right now. I don't know if this is right, but let's just test this out for right now. I smashed the window of the bathroom. The shattered glass fell on the unconscious man. I turned him over. It was Lieutenant Kang. It was a burning inferno outside of the bathroom. Smoke was coming inside from underneath the door. The temperature had also risen to a significant degree. I tried to carry Lieutenant Kang on my back and retreat the way I come in, but the fire outside had burned down the support beams and the ceiling collapsed. The bathroom door was completely blocked. I couldn't even call for help. The main entrance to the apartment was the only way left. I opened the bathroom door. The heat rushing inside almost made me feel like I was being suffocated. The room outside had become a chaotic mass of black and red. It felt so familiar. I remember the same chaos when I was just being 7 years old. There was a person who was carrying another person. I was still a coward who couldn't do anything but cry. If it weren't for a big brother passing by who had bravely carried me out of the fire, Chung Gyun Min would not have been. Wait, let me reread that. If it weren't for a big brother passing by who bravely carried me out of the fire, Chung Gyun Min would not even be here at all. I never learned the name of the person who saved me. I could barely remember what he looked like. The only thing I could remember of him was something that he said to me. He said, "This is my justice." The apartment was crumbling around me. My breath was becoming heavier and heavier, and my steps were getting slower and slower. Eventually, I wasn't able to get out of the way when a dresser tipped over on us. Flames were licking at our bodies, but I couldn't even feel that heat anymore. Why couldn't I do it? For justice. Remember the reason I wanted to become a policeman? Yeah, I got a new achievement.
The body that had rolled out of the closet was my target, the president of Shanglong Court, Liang Ji-long. Someone had gotten to him before I could. What I couldn't understand, though, was why a bomb was tied to his body. It was the kind of bomb that would detonate upon disturbance or when the timer ran out. It was much more powerful than the one I had made, but I hesitated for too long. The bomb had erupted into a glorious monster of fiery blossoms. It startled everything in sight, including the room and me.
Okay, those are both bad. Okay, let's put everything in here and just see how that goes. The officers from Unit 3 broke into the apartment and found Officer Min Jun. They also found me unconscious. I had apparently passed out at the bathroom door after inhaling too much smoke. We were rescued from the fire. When I finally woke up in a safe location, the first thing I did was tell the people around me that Lieutenant Kang was still behind the jammed bathroom door. He passed out inside. It was already too late. They told me that the fire had been put out for a while and they found a burnt body in the bathroom. Oh my gosh. Messed up.
My target, the president of Shanglong Court, Liang Ji-long, had not been in the room. However, he was only part of the mission. Our even more important task was to find the black metal box that he had. Unfortunately, I could not find the box either. I spent a long time searching for it. He must have hidden it somewhere that wasn't in plain sight. I could have had more time if it weren't for the bomb that had been placed in the closet by someone. It was already too late when I heard the ticking sound from inside the closet. The closet had suddenly exploded. The flames that erupted from it engulfed everyone in the room, including me.
Okay, well the bomb still goes off. Let's see what happens if we had the door kick open. Will he still be alive? I never expected I would have recognized the body that just ran out of the closet. It was Officer Min Jun. The fire was getting worse in the room. Whether it was because I inhaled too much smoke or the temperature had just gone too high, or that I was in too much shock, I felt myself unable to think anymore. But I could remember that Lieutenant Kang was still in the bathroom. I saw him after I had climbed in through the broken window. I had to save him. I ran towards the bathroom. Right then, I heard a crisp cracking sound of something collapsing. A cabinet over 2 meters tall fell down in front of the bathroom door. It blocked my way, right before my very eyes. My knees crumbled and I knelt before the cabinet. I was unable to breathe in the heavy smoke, and I slowly collapsed in the burning temperature. I began to lose consciousness.
The guards who had broken into the office called me inside. I jumped behind the couch using it as cover. I hid in 4 guns and hundreds of bullets in my janitor's uniform. I was going to claim my victory. I pulled out the first gun and aimed it at the man standing at the door. But then the closet in the corner of the office suddenly exploded. The flames that erupted from it engulfed everyone in the room.
Okay, hold on. Let's see. Let's say we kick the door open. We see this. How about we try this direction? My kung fu instincts from my Shaolin training were telling me that I should not stay here any longer. I needed to get out as soon as possible. Accompanied by the sound of shattering glass, I landed on the ground steadily. Then I saw 2 cars stopping in front of the apartment building. Every person coming out of the 2 cars was an officer from Unit 3. The image of Officer Min Jun lying there with his eyes wide open was still imprinted in my mind. How did he die? Why was he there? Why would Unit 3 show up right now? And what about that suspicious annoying tip? There were too many puzzles that I wanted to discuss with Lieutenant Kang when I saw him. Never would have guessed that the next day I would learn an even more shocking piece of news. The lieutenant had died too, and they put out a warrant for me, saying that I had become a fugitive. This case, that had so many ties to Unit 4, had turned into a wild horse race, wild horse charging down a freeway. I no longer had any control over the situation. Perhaps I should not have just run away. Maybe things would have been different if I had just stayed. Okay, that's not what I meant to do when I said the door was kicked open. I meant that you kicked the front door open. Okay, how about we put this, we do like this. We do that. How about we do this? How about we have this go on fire already? I smashed the window of the bathroom. To my surprise, I saw Lieutenant Kang pass out on the bathroom floor. Even more surprisingly, when I carried Lieutenant to the living room, his foot accidentally bumped the doors of the closet, which was knocked open. Then, a body rolled out from inside. I recognized the body. It was Officer Min Jun. It had only been a few days since we last saw each other. Never would I ever imagine that I'd be seeing him again like this. I couldn't think anymore, so I had to leave Officer Min Jun to Lieutenant Kim at the scene. I drove Lieutenant Kang to the hospital myself, as fast as I could. Fortunately, Lieutenant Kang was mostly okay. The doctor said that he only had some serious alcohol poisoning. However, this was only the beginning. The next day, I went to visit the lieutenant, who was still in a coma, but then a bunch of men from Lieutenant 3 kicked me out once again. They had reasons to believe that the lieutenant might be heavily involved in Min Jun's murder. From now on, they were putting him under 24-hour surveillance. Damn it. I hadn't had time to check on Officer Min Jun, as I had to rush Lieutenant Kang to the hospital. The autopsy had concluded in the entire investigation and process was under the complete supervision of Unit 3. It'll be too late to look for more clues of the scene now.
My target, the president of Shanglangkor, Lan Long, was supposed to be in the office, but is nowhere to be found. Besides killing him, I had an even more important task, which was to find the metal box. I got lucky. I accidentally found the metal box that Ray had asked me to find when I dropped down to the floor to get away from the heavy smoke. It had been glued to the bottom of the couch. After leaving the office, I looked into the security stairwell again. There was almost nobody in it. I was wearing the janitor's uniform and calmly started walking down to the 3rd floor. I got down to the 5th floor. 4 security guards, followed by someone in a doctor's coat, walked past me and climbed up the stairs. The person in the lab coat looked a bit familiar, so I turned my head and took another glance at him. Then I realized he was looking at me too. Then I remembered. He was the doctor summoned to check up on me at Moneyjaw's mansion. Moneyjaw's entire household had been wiped out, and everyone in the underground world knew that a black dragon gang had done it. Yet nobody dared to say a word about it. After all, Moneyjaw was merely a money man who had no other connections or support. Nobody knew that there had been any other survivors from that unfortunate accident. But if anybody were to survive, that person must be deeply involved with the Black Dragon gang. If the doctor had recognized me and told anyone about my presence, Shanglangkor would be able to connect the gang to the boss's death. They would be in serious trouble. We were getting further away from each other one step at a time, and this uneasy feeling kept dripping from my heart like a leaking water tap, one drop at a time. I made up my mind just before they were about to disappear at the corner of the stairs. My dagger cut through the air like a silver lightning bolt and went through the doctor's throat. In the next second, 4 bullets left the silencer of my gun and took out the others in the stairwell. I gave the doctor, who saved my life, one last look. He was lying on the stairs, with his left hand over his chest. I never learned what his name was, and I'll never have a chance to ask him. I closed my eyes, shook my head, and turned around. It was too late when I realized something had just touched my back. A cold, familiar, yet strange sensation kept pushing forward through my skin, through the gaps in my back ribs, through my heart, and finally through the gaps between my front ribs and my skin in front. My dagger had missed the artery just by a little. The tiny bit of mercy that remained in my heart had turned out to be my fatal mistake. I watched as the box dropped from my arm and fell down the stairs, clanking the whole way down. I reached out, attempting to catch it, but I couldn't. We both got B ranks. Ugh, it's a lot. Oof. So many options. Goodness gracious. I need to get a water break. Thirsty. Okay. Hmm. What do I do? What do I do? Let's try this. She needs to be able to escape still. Okay, still not good. I'm still not getting the best. So still not S. Okay. I recognize the man lying on the floor. Officer Minjun's eyes are wide open. There was a dark brown stain near his chest on the dark-colored shirt. The blood had already dried. Before I could check any further, the officers from Unit 3, who had followed us here, had pushed me aside and started examining the body themselves and taking notes. It was a little strange. I was one who received the tip in the first place, but the scene had now been overrun by Unit 3. Soon the CSI unit arrived too. I still couldn't quite accept Officer Minjun's death. As the guys from Unit 3 wouldn't let me near the body, I had no choice but to wander around the living room. When I walked past a dresser in the living room, I noticed a knocked over picture frame. I flipped it over. It was a photo of Lieutenant Kang with a woman in her 30s. Hey, you! Don't touch anything! Yes, you! The men from Unit 3 kicked me out of the apartment. I had to stand by the door and watch them carry Officer Minjun's body away from the body bag. Even more bizarrely, they had found Lieutenant Kang passed out in the bathroom due to apparent alcohol poisoning. I'd only found out later that the place had been Lieutenant Kang's apartment. Excuse me. Okay, this seems to be good now. Okay. This seems like S, but I still need to fix the other guy. I held onto the rope with my right hand and descended all the way to the ground from the outside of the building. I was also carrying a black metal box in my left arm. I had accidentally found the box when I dropped down to the floor to get away from the heavy smoke. It had been glued to the bottom of the couch. Although Liang Zilong was nowhere to be found, Ray had instructed me that the metal box was my top priority. The guards broke into the office just after I escaped through the window. I could hear them directing the whole team to go after me, but it was already too late. I started my motorcycle and went into full throttle. Minutes later, I had arrived at the back alley behind Melody Hall. Ray opened the box in front of me. Inside were 2 cubes the size of my palm with different markings on them. Ray gave me a reward after he made sure the items were intact. After that day, I had a dragon tattoo put on my stomach. Ray said that they had earned the mark as evidence. Ray said that I had earned that mark as evidence that I had truly become his. AS. How do I fix this then? Okay, hold on.
Hold on.
I held onto my rope with my right hand and descended all the way to the ground from the outside of the building. It went well for me at the night at first. I'd accidentally found the metal box that Dre had asked me to find when I dropped to the floor to get away from the heavy smoke. It had been glued to the bottom of the couch, but when I was about to escape through the window, the guards had broken into the office and fired and hit me into my right hand. I had to drop the box and leave Liang's office.
Every mission relies on skill 70% of the time. The rest of it depends on your luck.
Ray had taught me that. I was out of luck for the night. Later that evening, an informant notified me that the target, Liang Xilong, had already been killed before I even gotten there. That meant that there had been someone else who had been who had the same plan and the same intentions as Ray. Perhaps they had been looking for the metal box too. The next day I snuck into the building again, but the metal box was nowhere to be found.
This still sounds like it's bad. This still doesn't sound like I got an S rank. I recognized the man lying on the floor. Officer Min Jun's eyes were wide open. There was a dark brown stain near his chest on the dark colored shirt. The blood had already dried. Judging from the amount of blood and the shape of it, it must have been a gunshot wound. Why would he be here? Where on earth was this place? What had happened to him? I looked around the living room. A lot of empty beer bottles were scattered on the floor, most of which were empty. Most of them were not empty though, and the beer had spilled all over the place. There were a lot of burning candles on the floor too. Lieutenant Kang is passed out over here! Oh, that's Lieutenant Kang's voice? Okay. Lieutenant Kang is passed out over here! I heard Lieutenant Kang's voice coming from the bathroom. Lieutenant Kang? Why was he here too? I got back up and walked to the bathroom. When I walked past the dresser in the living room, I noticed a knocked over picture frame. I flipped it over. It was a photo of Lieutenant Kang with a woman in her 30s. Lieutenant Kang looked much younger in the photo. He even seemed a little shy. Both of them were in uniform with their guns holstered. I couldn't look away from the woman in the photo for a long time. Then I finally remembered. She had been the previous lieutenant of Unit 2, Jayagal Sok, a legendary figure in the Busan police precinct. She was a beautiful woman, but more importantly, she was considered to be better than any of the male officers in the force. She was famous for being incredibly courageous and defensive. She was an idol of almost every young police officer. Even during my days in the academy, a lot of my classmates had her photos in their private collections. That's how I had recognized her. The photo had obviously been taken before she had been killed in line of duty. Lieutenant Kang looked like he had just joined the police too. Perhaps he was a fan of hers too. There was nothing strange about that. So, this must be Lieutenant's home. Why would Min Jun's body be here then? I suddenly remembered the anonymous tip, and I was starting to get more and more suspicious. Officer Min Jun had been shot. He was still in his undercover outfit, which I had seen him in a few times. I went back to check on his body and there was nothing in his pockets, but I did notice a keychain attached to his waist. I heard Lieutenant Kim walking over from the bathroom. He must be wondering why I hadn't responded yet. I quickly took the keychain off and hid it. Please, Britta, please bless me. Please bless me so I can find the truth and avenge Officer Min Jun. Oh, that was an S. Good. Hold on, I think I need to retry like that. There we go. There we go. We got S for both of them. Yay. Oh. Is this Jimmy right now? How did it end up like this?
탓이야. 바보같이.
How could Officer Mean Germ be dead?
Te extraño.
Carlos, will I ever see you again? Stop! Stop!
Oh my gosh. Oh, she's having a nightmare. I was like, I was thinking about her, to be honest, as I was doing this. Like, how can she just go ahead and just, you know, she has to go ahead and read all these letters. She has to go ahead and rearrange these scripts so they can get a better ending. But even some of these endings are pretty bad. They're not really the best, to be honest. So it's like, how can she do this and be satisfied with herself knowing that she's not, even the endings that she's creating for these people are not necessarily the best endings as possible. I feel bad for her. I wouldn't like this. I wouldn't want to do this, have this job.
Oh, it was just a nightmare. No, it was more than that. Everything has already happened in reality, but I've tried everything I could. I thought it was raining. However, everything outside looks exactly the same as when I first woke up after losing my memories. The sky's still red. Snow keeps falling down. Even the snow looks red, perhaps because of the light. There doesn't seem to be anybody in the buildings on either side of the street. And there aren't any people on the street. There aren't any animals either. No small birds or little dogs. There aren't even any trees or grass. The rain only appears in my dreams, as it never stops snowing outside the window. Is this what the God's world looks like? I wonder what the human's world looks like right now.
Yo, you up early.
What time is it now?
I was starting to think that I was like, about to get a bad ending. Like, did I fail? Did I fail? I thought I was doing good. 4 o'clock in the morning.
It's only 4? None seems to change outside the window. I can't even tell whether it's morning or not. The human's world has a day and night, right? Why don't we have that?
That's because we live in a different world.
Well, I want to go for a walk outside.
I'm afraid you can't do that.
Why not?
To us, there is no outside. Everything you see from the window is just an illusion. This house is all there is to our world.
Are you telling me that everything that I see outside the window is fake?
That's correct. Everything outside is fake. Even the house that we're living in right now doesn't really exist. All this is built by our combined imagination. Our world and the human's world have no intersections at all. Not in time, nor in space.
Well, could we go to their world at all? By teleportation, for example, like you did earlier? Or maybe there's a door of some kind that can open to any other place that you want to go to.
Why do you want to go to their world so much?
I haven't been feeling too well recently. This job, it's not like what I had first imagined it would be. I thought I could give everyone a perfect, happy ending. But tragedies keep happening one after another, right?
For real, I feel so bad.
I don't know what I've done wrong. Do I not understand them well enough because I'm not human? Or is it because I'm not familiar enough with their world so I can't understand the consequences of my decisions? So
you want to go there and witness their lives for yourself?
Yes.
Unfortunately, we aren't able to go to their world. Besides, we don't really need to. We are gods. All we need to do is fulfill the human's wishes. It is not our duty to create a wonderful world based on our own judgment. You have too much kindness in you, and that's why you're overthinking it. No matter what decision you make, the humans will accept them, simply because they don't have any other options. That's terrible.
But we're gods. How could we be so careless about their sincere wishes?
Psst. Humans never truly understand what they want, ever. They get themselves into trouble, but they're afraid to take responsibility for their actions or choices. And that's why they always hope the gods can fix everything for them. God will help me. God will bless me. They're nothing but a bunch of cowards and losers. As long as we help them resolve their immediate dilemmas, we've done our job. No, it's not. No, this is a terrible philosophy. No. No, girl, don't listen to that. He's telling you that bad advice. As for the other problems that lie in their future, those have nothing to do with us. The bottom line is, even if we don't help them at all, they have no right to complain. After all, we are gods and they are mere humans. Therefore, no matter what you do, you're always right. You will never be wrong. But I understand it might be a little difficult for you to accept this right now. You should go take a nap and get some rest. We've talked enough for today. I'll go make us some breakfast.
Was I really overthinking things?
No, girl. Well, maybe I have to do it myself. Do what yourself? I'm
하나님, 나를 도와주세요.
Aww.
젠장, 어떻게 이럴 수가?
Uh-huh.
puedo regresar.
Uh-huh.
하나님, 나를 도와주세요.
Aww. We haven't seen you in a while. Let's see how you do on Park Sang-gun. He's 14 years old. Well, has he always been 14? I think he has. Thought he was a little younger than that. Excuse me. Okay.
My name is Park Sang-gun. I'm 14 years old. I've lived in a mental hospital. The vice president of the hospital was Dr. Lee Yun-sok. He was also my supervising doctor. Ever since I had been there
Okay, so he was 12. I thought he was a little younger at first. Ugh, I hate this so much. I hate this so much.
Ever since I had been sent there at 12 years old, he had been raping me. I used to cry out loud in my room and hide, but they would scream at me to shut up. I tried keeping a diary to relieve my stress, but I realized that the nurses would read it behind my back. When I was feeling extremely desperate, I would pick up the pen and stab myself with it. I forced myself not to cry, no matter how painful it was. It was an exercise. After a while, I gradually became numb to the pain. That way, it was less painful when I had to go to that room again. Most of the nurses in the hospital were women, but I did come to know one male nurse. His name was Lee Yong-chol. The other nurses said he was a nephew of Lee Yun-sok, and that was the reason why he got the job. Every Tuesday night, he would take me to Lee Yun-suk's office. He would then just wait outside till it was over. He would then bring me back to my room.
Oh, I hate this. My gosh, I hate all this stuff, to be honest. I hate this stuff and the stuff that Alicia had to go through, but especially since this is a young child. He has to go through this every single day for how many years? It's been 2 years now? Goodness gracious. Alicia, she went through some terrible stuff. I don't think it's been years. I think it's been like months at a time, which is still terrible, but it's been 2 years at one time as a child. This is a lot.
One day he noticed my scars. He could tell that those were not caused by his uncle. After he found out I had been hurting myself, he decided to confiscate my pen. Coward. He knew what his uncle had been doing to me. He also knew that he read my diary. I also knew he read my diaries too. He was too afraid to stop his uncle, but he would take away my pen. I closed the door. I threw myself at his feet, held on to his legs, and began crying at the top of my lungs. As expected, he panicked and touched my head with his hands, trying to console me. Since that moment, he had become an ally of mine. As an ally, Lee Yon-chol would sometimes use his limited power to get me some small privileges. For instance, I could walk in the garden a little longer than the others. If I could hold on a little longer, maybe I could even find a chance to escape from here. Just when the tiniest ray of hope was beginning to show, I had a piece of horrible news. My mum had died. I overheard it from the nurses. None of them wouldn't tell the news to my face, but they would gossip about me behind my back, commenting about what a poor child I was. I didn't want the pathetic sympathy. I just wanted Mum. For the last 2 years, no one had ever visited me. Why had Mum never come to visit me? I knew why. Must have something to do with Dad. He sold me off first, kept torturing Mom at home, and prevented her from visiting me. He was not my dad. He was a bad person, a monster. I wanted to kill him. I pretended I had not heard the news. Every night I would cover my face with my blanket so the nurses wouldn't notice me crying. In secret, however, I began to plan my escape. Hold on, I need to get another bottle of water because my throat's getting a little hoarse. Okay, I'm back. Okay. Another Tuesday night. In a room without light, there was only pale moonlight. He and I, two people. Everything was exactly the same as 2 years, except for the lack of a sinister smell in the air. I had long given up the fight, so he no longer needed something like that to subdue me. But this is but this night wouldn't be the same as usual. He didn't expect for me to pick up the chair and throw it at his head. He pushed me to the ground. Lee Yoon-sok was outraged. He slapped me square in the face twice with both of his hands. I fell to the ground. Everything looked like a blur. I didn't have any more strength to fight back. The chair only broke the foam behind him. I knew I had to be physically stronger to have a chance. But the horrible diet, the mental and physical torture that I had been subjected to, was only making me weaker and weaker every day. The door opened. I didn't have to look to know it was Lee Yoon-chol. He had seen this scene countless times. He isn't feeling well today. Shall we wait another day? Hey, pigs were flying. When did he start defending me? I chuckled twice, despite my bleeding lips. Who gave you permission to speak? Feeling the rage of his uncle, the little bit of courage Lee Young-chol had mustered up, crumbled immediately. He walked out of the room in silence and closed the door behind him. Nothing had changed. Ew. Lee Young-suk took off his belt and gave me an unusual lesson, followed by the usual routine. Nothing had changed. No, that wasn't true. Something had changed. I had changed. I was no longer the same kid from 2 years ago, even though I couldn't really remember what I had been like back then. Nevertheless, I knew one thing for sure. Even if I've become a pile of worthless human garbage, I would not stay here forever. I wanted to go home. I had to go home. God, do you hear my wish? Park Sang-kun. A plan gone awry. I don't like all this music going on right now. The music sounds a little different than usual in my opinion. This is just me. I was lying still on my bed, my eyes closed. I could feel the breeze coming and going. The annoying mosquitoes kept interrupting my thoughts. Damn pests. I flicked the bloody body of a mosquito away like a small booger. Dinner time. A small tray was pushed inside through the tiny window. A bowl of rice, a plate of cabbage,
2 pieces of fried chicken and a banana. Why did I only get 1 piece of chicken? Is he in jail? Hold on right now. Is he in jail? Was he charged for murder of Officer Min Jun? Oh my gosh. The fat man in the opposite cell yelled at the guard who was delivering the meals. He didn't get an answer. I picked up the banana from the tray and started peeling it. My diet had become much healthier since I'd been sent here. I never had a meal on time back at the police station, and the food was always burgers, chickens, fries, and occasional leftovers that had been around for far too long. Excuse me. There have been a few times I got to eat some nice meals though, when Chang Yeon-min would bring over some of his homemade bentos. That kid would always say something like, "A healthy body is necessary to defend justice," which made him sound like a whiny old lady. But I was starting to miss that kid. I had no idea how he'd been doing. He must be in a lot of trouble right now. Or maybe not. The people who have framed me must be keeping him out of this case altogether. What happened to Min Jun was all my fault. On the day I'd come to rescue Jin Yeon, I tried to get Min Jun to join the mission, but I hadn't been able to reach him. The kid had always been the one person who had never missed a call. This was the first time I couldn't find him. I should have realized that something might have gone wrong then. He never showed at the police station afterwards either. I told Chang Yeon-min that Min Jun had been sick, but honestly, I had no idea where he had been. It turned out he was dead, and his body had been hidden in my room. So was framed. He must have known something, and they must have killed him for it. The murderer must have also known that it was the same day as the anniversary of the lieutenant's death. He knew that I'd be very drunk that day, so he had a better chance of success. 2 birds with 1 stone. I had some idea of who that bastard could be, but I had no evidence at the moment. I need to find a way to get out of here first. Lieutenant Kim is suspicious. The way that he came out to say, "Hey, I heard there was a murder case," when he's the one who got the tip. How come multiple police officers got the tip at the same time? Like, how come he got the tip at the same time? He came out very conveniently to go join Officer Chang Yeon-min on the case. So I'm thinking that Lieutenant Kim in Unit 3. Well, I don't know if Lieutenant Kim is Lieutenant of Unit 3, but Lieutenant Kim is suspicious. He was in on it. I'm irritated. I needed to find a way to get out of it first. A tall shadow moved on the cell floor. The guard who had brought the tray was still here. He was watching me eat, almost like he was monitoring me. The name was Yong Hyuk. At least that's what I heard the other guard calling him. He was over 2 meters tall and very muscular. I do not know what 2 meters means. Let me translate that to American units. 2 meters, 2 feet. Wow, 2 meters is 6.5 feet. And I'm not even 6. Well, no, never mind. I don't know how much 6.5 is in inches. Let me look up in inches. Feet and inches. 2 meters, 2 feet. Okay, it is 6 feet and about 7 inches. Okay, so yeah, that is taller than me. I'm 6'2", so wow, he's even taller than that. He's like almost 7 feet. He must be the most menacing person in the detention center. Anyone who stood before him might feel like they were standing in front of an impenetrable wall. However, Yong Hyuk had a secret. Detention Center number 6 was a prison that was used exclusively to hold police officers who had been in trouble. It did not belong to the police system, and therefore was not under the supervision of the police bureaucracy. Therefore, everyone who had been thrown in here had to go through a ritual. The fat man on the opposite cell was locked up because of a 5 million won bribe. Every day, he and I were forced to strip naked and be blasted with cold water. It wasn't that much in a cold shower to me. But the fat man, he'd be screaming bloody murder every time the water hit him. The more he screamed, however, the more excited the guards would get. Why is everyone so terrible? Like, everybody is so terrible. It's so irritating. Everyone is so terrible in these stories. For them, it had turned to a kind of entertainment. Yeon Hyuk's reaction, however, seemed a little different than the rest of the cheering mob. One of my best buddies was Guy. I could sense the same vibe from him. Oh my gosh. The fat man yelled at me in a lowered voice. Hey, can I trade this banana for your chicken? Screw you. I suddenly had an idea, but I needed somebody's help. 20 minutes later, Yeon Hyuk came back to take the trays away. There was something extra in the tray, a small paper note. Now, all I could do was wait until the middle of the night. 12 a.m. Most people here had fallen asleep, but I was sitting in a chair in the interrogation room that had seen numerous occupants. A piece of yellow tape covered my mouth. My hands had been cuffed behind my back. Many brand new scars had been added to the current collection on my body. I made a mistake. Yeon Hyuk was standing under the fluorescent light with a belt in his hands. His uniform was now soaking wet with sweat. Just a moment ago, the belt had hit me on my left eye, which was so bruised that I couldn't even open it anymore. I absolutely hated these simple-minded meatheads, especially when they could overpower me. If he had simply agreed to my proposal, I would have let my buddies find him I would have let my buddies find him a few handsome guys as a thank you, and everybody would have been happy. Aw. Look at you being a wingman. Now he was just torturing me for nobody's benefit. Well, since the enticement had not worked out, that left me with only one other choice: threats. Although, how was I supposed to threaten him under the current circumstances? Should I summon that guy? It didn't seem like a good idea. Yeon Hyuk seemed like he would never get tired. The pain he inflicted on me was almost to the edge of what I could tolerate. I had been trying my best to control, but in the end, he still woke up. The light from the swinging bulb cast some moving shadows on his impatient face. Idiot. I took out the pen and stabbed it into him. The pen went right through his eye socket into his brain. Ugh! He was dead in an instant. So was my consciousness. When I woke up, I found myself back into a cell. It was different this time, and there were more guards at the door. I felt my pocket. As usual, there was another note. I opened it and it said, "Your clothes stink. I told you to get 2 new sets." That bastard landed me into such a big mess, and all he cared about was some clean clothes. I now had another life on my hands. Min Jun's case was still highly inconclusive, but this one was more straightforward. I had indeed killed Yeon Hyuk. How could this have happened? Damn it. Kang Bakya. I was kind of hoping I could change the story a little bit so that he agrees to the proposal. But no, it happens after he's being tortured right now. That's sad. Oh well. I guess no handsome guys for you, man. Let's try this. No, actually no, I have a better idea. That was terrible. Well, no, never mind. I don't have a better idea. Let's just see how this goes. Yeon Hyuk was hit straight in the face by a chair. He lost his balance and fell to the ground. He watched his eye, broke the handcuffs with my bare hands, and couldn't process what he was seeing. 1, 2, 3. I stomped his bloody face on my feet over and over again. I'd once seen myself break another unfortunate bastard's arm with one stomp. If I kept going, he was going to die. I stepped away from the corner of the dark room and walked towards the center. The mysterious invisible force appeared again almost immediately. It was as if there were numerous dark hands that were pushing me on my shoulders, grabbing at my ankles, trying to stop me from walking to the light and regaining control of my body. I was pushed down to the ground, but I kept crawling. More hands were grabbing my feet, my legs, and dragging me in the opposite direction. I could not give in. I would not give in. At last, he grabbed my feet. I grabbed my feet. Enough, you bastard! Get out of here! The hands suddenly scattered away. I could see clearly again. Young Hyuk was crouching in the corner, looking at me with fear. He reminded me of a frightened little rabbit. I had scared him, and he had not realized that the person standing in front of him was a different one now. There was a wallet on the floor. It wasn't mine. I picked it up. There were a few bills, a credit card, and a receipt from a gay bar from only a few days ago, as well as a family photo. A beautiful wife? Oh my gosh! Not being married! Oh my gosh. To a woman, of all things. A beautiful wife and a lovely daughter. What a happy family. The happy lady sure had no ideas of the secret life that the husband and the father of the family had been leading. The little rabbit had no other choice. Complete the profile of Park Sang-gun. Is this his last story? This is sad. I mean, I don't even know how this is going to go, but let's just see. I plunged the pen deep into his throat. He stumbled back, poured out the pen and threw it onto the floor. Lots of blood were gushing out of the hole in his neck. I could see that he wanted to kill me very badly. However, with one hand covering his wound, he tripped and lost his balance, making a mess of his office. Soon he was lying on the floor with his eyes wide open, but he was no longer breathing. He was dead, but I was too good for him. Before anyone noticed what happened, I quickly searched the entire room. I found his hospital key card, some cash, and a Swiss Army knife. I ripped his clothes and pants off him and put them on myself so that mine wouldn't get bloody. Then I cut his thing off. Wow. Wow! Wow! That is crazy! That is crazy! Goodness gracious. I stuffed into his mouth. In that moment, I felt so relieved. Even the air in this room felt suddenly cleansed. I opened the window and slid down the drain pipe. The security guard on duty was watching TV in the office at the main gate. I ducked down and snuck past the window, opened the main gate with a swipe of the office key card and ran outside. Finally, I was free. Finally, I could go home. I walked all the way home with the flimsy clothes I was wearing. I walked past Alex's seafood store. I walked past Su Min's family bakery. I walked past the tobacco and alcohol store that I had forgotten to lock up. I picked up the most expensive bottle of vodka from the shelf. It was for my dad. Twice a week, 8 times a month, multiplies by 2, 90, 96, times 2, 100, 192. Let me round it up to 200. I was walking briskly. At the same time, I was quietly calculating how many times Mum had been hit by Dad for the past 2 years, just as an estimate. It was almost sunrise when I finally saw the familiar, yet strange home. As I was expected, Dad was sound asleep. I changed to Mum's favorite coat. Then I went to the kitchen and picked up the knife that Mum used to cut meat. At last, I came to my dad's bed. Wow, he is on us free. Dad, I'm home. 1, 2, 3, 66. Wow! He's doing for each one. Goodness gracious. For every single hit, every single day that his mother had to endure, he's doing it for him. Wow. 66, 67. Splish, 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 splish. The sound of the knife going in and out of his body was almost a musical melody. 122, 123, 124, 120, 99, 200. Blood was splashed all over the bed and the floor. It was disgusting. I sprinkled the vodka that I had brought home all around the bed and the room. Then I lit a match. Bye, Dad. Bye, Mom. Wow, I've seen this one in the trailer. This photo.
The small flame was jumping and growing. It was becoming bigger and bigger. In the end, it grew so big that it swallowed this place I used to call home. I never seen anything more beautiful. From the ashes, I would start a brand new life.
Progress unlocked. Park Sang-gun escaped from the asylum. Wow. Yeah. He's done. That's so sad. It's so sad he didn't draw that. I want to know what happens to him after that, though. I want to know. I need some reassurance that he starts a new, brand new, healthy life after that. I don't want him to go to jail. I want him to start a new life. I need to know. I need to know if this poor baby's alright. My poor baby better not be hurt by nobody else in this life. That's so sad. Okay, who's next? You. Okay, so let's just do this one and then we'll be at 2 hours. So
JL7042. 42. The flight from Hong Kong to Tokyo. This is my first time on a plane, yet I wasn't as excited as I imagined I would be. I closed my eyes, hoping I could fall asleep until landing. After a while, the plane encountered some turbulence. My face tightened a little, not because I was scared, but because I was annoyed that it had disrupted my dream. I was dreaming of Carlos. In the dream, we finally got to see each other again. It was late at night. Even though we hadn't seen each other for such a long time, neither of us said anything. It was so dark that I couldn't even see what he looked like as a grown-up. His lips moved, and he was about to say something, but suddenly, the ground beneath us morphed into an enormous wave and swept me away. I opened my eyes. The boy next to me handed me one of his earbuds. He probably thought I was afraid. Some tender music was flowing out of the earbud. I smiled at him with gratitude. He had short and curly dark hair. He looked like he was about 18 years old now. Carlos would be around the same age now. I fell asleep again, although I couldn't go back to the same dream this time. 4 hours later, at the front desk of the Prince Hotel in Shinjuku, I was checking in. Coincidentally, I ran into the boy who was next to me on the plane. Also coincidentally, his room was right next to mine. He said his name was Lin Wei. He was here on a trip by himself and suggested that we travel together if that was okay with me. I agreed, but I would have to wait until after I finished my business here. The sun was about to set when he knocked on my door. He told me that he would enter the car and asked if I would like to take a ride with him on the beach. I said yes. His eyes were a little red, and we didn't say anything to each other on the way. We didn't go directly to the beach. Instead, we circled around Shinjuku a couple times at first. If he wasn't so upset, I would have almost suspected that he had figured out who I really was. I never knew that the target this time was still a kid. Half an hour ago, I received an instruction from Ray. The target this time was a person staying in the room next to mine, Lin Wei. He was the only child of the boss of Lin Inc., who ran the Black Dragon Gang. Whenever Lin gave me an assignment, I never questioned the reason. Although this time, I didn't really need to ask. The big boss of Lin Inc. Incorporated was in his final years. Some elders in the corporation had brought up the idea of looking for a successor. Obviously, the big boss wanted his own son to succeed him, and everyone knew it. But I knew Ray too well. He wanted to be the successor. The gang had plenty of enemies in the criminal underworld. This time, Lin Wei was traveling to Japan alone, without any bodyguards. It meant that this time would be the perfect opportunity for Ray to take him out of the equation. It was quite windy by the sea. There were a couple of tourists hanging around the beach. I planned to complete the assignment once they left. Lin Wei stood there facing the ocean. He closed his eyes and spread his arms. He looked like a bird who was about to ride the wind and fly away to the sky.
Miss, have you ever thought about what we live live for in this world?
I fixed my hair that was flying in the wind. For me, simply to be able to live is good enough. I never thought about something so deep. Lin Wei kept his posture.
Well, do you have an important person in your life?
I do. I looked toward the ocean. He put his arms down.
What would you do if you couldn't be with that person?
I'd wait. He looked back at me. His face was covered in tears.
What if you know that you'll only be waiting for nothing?
I suddenly realized that I never thought about this possibility.
Miss, I know what you're doing here. I have seen many other people like you.
Lin Wei unbuttoned his shirt and revealed the numerous horrifying scars on his body. In 2 years.
Wait. In 2 years, my father will hand the company to me. Miss, you of all people should know how many people want me dead. All of these years, my only wish has been to be that person. All of these years, my only wish has been to be with that person on my birthday. I was born in the winter, near Christmas. I would always dream about the two of us decorating our own Christmas tree, walking along the festive streets, and holding hands like a real couple. But year after year, I could never make it happen. And I will never be able to make it happen in the future. I will not let the person I love get hurt because of me. So I can't be with that person. Not in this life. I'm tired. Tired of a life like this.
The last tourist had just left the beach. He gave me one last smile and started walking toward the ocean. The water gradually went over his waist, over his shoulder. A few minutes later, I dived into the ocean. I grabbed his hand. I gasped for the sea salt-tasting air, feeling like I was going to be swallowed by the crushing waves. At the very next moment, I lay there on the beach. I was completely wet. Lin Wei was lying next to me.
Why didn't you just let me die? Isn't that your mission?
Why? I didn't know. Perhaps I was hoping there would be another possibility for him. It had been 10 days. I still didn't have a strategy to help him. Although I worked for A, I didn't really have all this information in the organization. Even in the gang, not a lot of people were aware of my existence. Therefore, I didn't have any useful connections. I was just sitting on the couch in my room. A bunch of empty candy boxes were piling up on my hand. Lin Wei must be an extremely important target to Ray. Letting Ring go meant I had betrayed him. I might have made one of the stupidest decisions of my life, just out of that one moment of sympathy. I heard footsteps in the hallway outside. The person was intentionally keeping them light, so I knew instantly, that this couldn't be a regular tenant.
Oh, thank you. I didn't even know I was blushing right now. Thank you for the bouquet. I didn't even know I was blushing.
My 4 years of training told me immediately that it was someone like me, and that he or she was good at this job too. And they surely wouldn't show me any mercy. Alicia.
Okay, how do I fix this? I'm guessing that this could lure into the ocean, and then she grabs his hand and sinks him like that.
Lima was right. I had the blood of over 1,000 people on my hands. If I were to be with Carlos, I would bring him nothing but misery. The surface was almost pitch black, beneath which hid many invisible but violent torrents. The water was almost much colder than I expected. I could feel the chill in my bones. Li Wei grabbed my hand and he was guiding me ahead. I suddenly understood. Heavenly Father was giving me a chance for redemption, right here, right now. We held our hands together and disappeared into the darkness.
Yeah, that was bad. How do I fix this? I don't know. Ooh, how do I fix this? Let's see how this goes. I don't know how this is supposed to go. I climbed back up to the beach and looked at the dark ocean. The surface was pitch black, beneath which hid many invisible but violent torrents. The water was also much colder than I expected. I could feel the chill in my bones. My bones. I dove in a few more times, yet I still couldn't find Lee Wei. Yeah, he had disappeared into the dark ocean. I felt as if a part of me had disappeared with him. Eh? Okay. Let's see how this goes. Apparently I haven't done this one yet. I don't know. Okay, this is how it's supposed to go? I don't understand this, but let's see. The hair that I was buzzing. I was sitting in my hotel room, drying my hair with my eyes closed. I was afraid. I was afraid I would see myself in a foggy mirror, and that I wouldn't even recognize my own reflection. The moment when Li Wei had disappeared in the ocean, for a second, I thought it wasn't Li Wen who was floating away from me, but Carlos. I wanted to swim towards him, but what if I had saved him? What else could I do for him? And how would I report back to Ray? The thought dissipated almost instantly. In the end, I followed my original plan. I came back to the beach at another spot and took a taxi back to the hotel. At the same evening, I told Ray about Li Wei's final moments, but his response surprised me. Starting from tomorrow, you are free. Well, I want to get a sneak peek of the letters that we have so far. Okay, we get to see Li Wen again. And another story with her. So she's free now. At 25, assassinated Li Wei and then left the Black Dragon gang. Okay. Well, she's free, so hopefully she can go see Carlos. Well, Carlos is in the Black Dragon gang right now, isn't he? What's going on with him? We haven't seen Carlos in a while. I want some more stories from him. I want them to reunite soon. Please. Okay. Cafe across the street. Guess what'll be it. I want to see Spotty again. Spotty's so cute. I love him so much. He looks so cute. Okay, so that's it for today. It's how long have we been streaming for? It's been 2 hours and 11 minutes. So yeah, that was a lot of stuff that we went through. All very interesting, all very sad too. I hope that we can find a way to get Kang Baekya out of jail and his name cleared up. Goodness gracious, a lot going on in this story. Oh my goodness gracious. But Alicia's free now, so I want to see what happens with her. I'm curious to see how her life's gonna go now that she's free. But yeah, I guess we'll see you next Monday. Thank y'all very kindly for coming. I still plan again to stream on Wednesday. Wednesday is Juneteenth, by the way. So yeah, I don't have anything specifically planned for Juneteenth. I was planning just to do a normal stream, but I did want to say it. So yeah, and then on Friday again, it would be Danganronpa, Mauve, and then Sunday, the last stream for the Casebook of Honor. So yeah, thank y'all very kindly for coming. Much obliged, and I hope y'all will. I'll see y'all soon. Y'all come back now. You heard me.